This man came with his daughter to pay his wife's medical expenses. After the doctor received the money, he informed the man, "You can go and claim your wife's body now." The man was shocked, and the doctor said, "Your wife passed away last night." Upon hearing this, the man was overcome with grief. He and his daughter stayed at the hospital all night. Why didn't anyone inform him of this news? In the morning, they asked me to go and get the money. When I returned, they asked me to wait in line to pay. On several occasions, no one told me that my wife had passed away. My young daughter didn't even get to see her mother one last time. The man demanded answers, and the doctor coldly replied, "If we didn't do that, how would you have willingly come to pay today? This is a heartless hospital, regardless of the severity of the illness. Even for a minor sprain, doctors arrange unnecessary tests just to make patients pay more. They even go so far as to claim the dead are alive." On that day, a deceased patient was brought to the hospital, and after the doctor confirmed the death, they didn't notify the family. Instead, they urgently sent them to the pharmacy to buy medicine. The money was spent on the medication, but it was returned to the pharmacy without being used. And every doctor and nurse who entered the ward chatted and joked, treating it as their own lounge. They would even tell the family that the patient's condition was critical and that surgery was needed, and another 200,000 rupees was given. People came and went, busy in and out, but what was happening inside the room was different from what was happening outside. It was truly a performance. After 6 hours, the doctor informed the family that the patient's resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful and they had passed away, but a family member produced a death certificate proving that the patient had already died before being brought to the hospital. This man was not actually a family member of the patient. He staged this scene to help the family obtain compensation and make these people taste the bitter fruits they sowed. Under threat, the hospital director reluctantly handed over a large amount of compensation. After receiving the compensation, the man didn't choose to conceal the truth. Instead, he immediately reported the evidence. In an instant, the anger of the patients was ignited. They surrounded the hospital, making it impossible to leave. They all approached, wanting an explanation. In the chaos, the hospital director accidentally shot and killed himself. The outbreak of this incident angered the hospital director's father, Patil. He wanted to avenge his son, so he checked the surveillance footage to find the man's whereabouts. But upon seeing his face, Patil was shocked and couldn't believe his eyes, because he not only knew this man, but he had personally killed him 5 years ago. So who is this man after all? His original name was Aditya, an ordinary university teacher. After marriage, he moved into a new house with his beloved wife, and they were deeply in love and happy together. But the good times didn't last long. The house they moved into was a shoddy project built by an unscrupulous real estate developer. Not long after their wedding, his pregnant wife died as a result. Aditya refused to accept compensation and only wanted to sue the real estate developer, who happened to be Patil, the same person from years ago. Patil had bribed numerous officials, so no one was willing to handle this accident dispute. You can call anyone in Maharashtra and tell them the truth about what happened. Hello, is this the office of the chief administrator? What's the matter? But every time, the call gets hung up before I finish speaking. No one is willing to deal with this matter at all. In that case, Aditya decided to solve it with force. He defeated everyone present, but when faced with Patil about to fall from the building, he had a change of heart, and letting him go once became a big mistake. Patil launched a surprise attack from behind, and his subordinates casually left Aditya, who was barely alive, on the road. Fortunately, a group of medical students behind him saved him. Aditya harbored deep hatred for Patil and those corrupt officials who took bribes. He later changed his name to Gabar and sought like-minded partners, secretly establishing an underground organization dedicated to punishing corrupt officials. Every time Gabar took action, he would send a disc to the police, boldly informing them of his targets. At first, no one believed him, but the next day, a corrupt tax collector was killed and hung in the square. From then on, all corrupt officials lived in fear, afraid of becoming Gabar's next target. They didn't hesitate to expose their own crimes and willingly went to prison seeking help. The kidnapping victims were all corrupt individuals, so people supported Gabar. They called him a hero of justice. A storm was brewing, and many officials dared not accumulate wealth recklessly. Patil's business was also affected. Gabar put Patil's name at the top of the death list. This wealthy man named Patil was holding a birthday banquet, and many people came wearing masks. Gabar hid among the crowd, taking advantage of the masks to smoothly take Patil away. 5 years ago, you gave me 2 choices. Today, I give you 3 in return. But no one answered his calls, just like Gabar's situation in the past. Giving Patil a chance to give up, Aditya sought revenge for his deceased wife and child. This time, he didn't hesitate. After settling his personal matters, Gabar turned himself into the police station. Many people took to the streets, petitioning the president. hoping for his release without charges. The crowd surrounded the police car carrying Gabar, and the situation spiraled out of control. The police asked Gabar to intervene. He climbed onto the roof of the car and spoke to the people below, saying that what he did was right, but it chose the wrong method. So he was guilty, as long as fairness and justice exist in the world. Even if one Gabar falls, there will be thousands and thousands of Gabars. In the end, Aditya was sentenced to death. Okay, this episode of the video ends here. See you in the next episode.